if I were to take somebody else and tell them what's happening to you, a lot of people would say that sounds miserable. And it's not. And I agree with you that it's not. It's just so many people are so wrapped up in, well, I wouldn't be able to do like the nice ass dinners, and I can't go buy the fancy car, and I can't go get a nice watch. Bullshit for starters. Secondary, that's not how it works. You are accepting this experience because you know and again, I'm speaking for you, so please tell me to shut the hell up if I'm wrong. But
so far you're not.
I feel like you are accepting this experience as something that is going to be that pivotal moment that changes your life.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
How can you say you believe in your next big break, which everybody talks about, and I don't believe in either, but if you can't say you believe in that and not be willing to have enough faith that when everything seems like it's never going to go your way, you dig your heels in just a little bit harder. Okay, thumbnail check. Title of the podcast.
Why isn't your mouth moving? It is. I'm tripping.
Title of the podcast is It's Finally Over.
For Chris Cobb.
We're done. Okay. So at 50 whatever seconds. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Welcome back to Talk Hard Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We are live here and well,
having third world problems.
I'm trying to stay positive, but it's kind of a rough day.
Me too.
Dang. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the podcast is just going to take a twist. Sorry, you're going to put up a little bit more of me in a little bit different of a way. We're making some changes because life is doing life things. So really quick, I want to kind of lay some groundwork for everybody that is watching or listening. We appreciate you. We love you. We hope you're getting what you need out of this and still want you to share back with us and with your friends. But life is life. So for me personally, I have like what you would call a 9 to 5. It's more like a 5 to 5 or 6 to whatever it needs to, it's just whatever it needs to be. I'm helping a company. Been there a little over a year helping with their production, and that is my 40 plus hours of that. And then I have a life coaching practice that I work in and on at the same time because it is still fairly new. And then we have the podcast. And then Mr. Corn on the Cob over here has got multiple things in the works at all times.
I'm going to work for the cops on their computers.
So, yeah, Chris is a Fed.
Yes.
And that's really why I need to go back in my house and hide.
And that's why they're no longer after me.
Okay, Hunter Biden. Sorry, I have to. So, yeah, basically, we're going to make a shift. And that shift is going to be I am taking the podcast to another studio. And I am going to... I'm going to do more one-on-one. I'm going to let you into this crazy thing called my mind and how it operates. For those of you that have been listening and watching and understanding me, I am the most positively selfish asshole that every one of you should want to be friends with because I have twisted that norm.
You are
selfish and an asshole
your friend.
Is now a good thing because it's being used as the proper tool. So I'm taking all of the negativity out in the world and I'm switching it into positive ways. And I still will hold true to my challenge. I had a client this weekend that was really stuck in a negative thought, and I kept bringing the positive out of it. And I said, I will challenge anyone. Tell me the worst thing that has ever happened to you, and I'll find the positive in it for you.
Sleeping in a bush in California wasn't good.
Well, you're lucky you're in California because the weather's quite nice and the police really don't care.
It was better than sleeping outside in Florida.
Boom.
I was getting eaten up by bugs in Tampa.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Brian.
Mm-hmm. Those bugs made you stronger. Now you're like Spider-Man. Again, positive.
Absolutely.
Boom. Welcome.
I have an idea. You're going to do your own kind of stuff for the podcast. Can I too? Because I've been wanting to get a couple guests on the show. I've been waiting on y'all.
Yes.
And I want to do something along the lines of Talk Hard Podcast on the go, and I can go ask people stupid questions and shit on the streets.
Yep.
And so, how'd you get homeless, and what do you eat at night? Do you ever sleep? Are you on meth?
I love that you're there. I want you to take it from there to how can we serve these individuals. As long as we are serving these people at the end of the podcast.
I didn't really mean homeless. Like,
well, I'm saying, no, I'm all for it.
I'm sorry.
You're not homeless yet.
I said that was mean, not me.
Oh, I thought you said that was me. I was like, you're not homeless yet. I'm all for whatever it is. The point of this podcast is to serve you. And what I mean by that is I am full of a lot of information from a lot of life experience. And that is not to toot my own horn. I do that in private. And that is not to...
It takes years of practice.
It does.
And stretches.
I'm not as flexible anymore. However, I have been selfishly dedicated to mastering the thoughts in my mind. And for those of you that don't believe it's possible, I'm here to tell you that's a bunch of bullshit, that everything that you think on your daily basis is a lie because you have backed it up with assumptions instead of facts, and it's time to twist the narrative. I had to take a real deep dive into myself early in recovery and early on with my wife and say, it's just time to get real. It's time to talk hard to myself. So every time I had that dumb thought that was real in my head, I backed it up with facts. And when I couldn't, I accepted the fact that I was wrong and accepted what was real. And so that's just one very, very small level to where my head goes. And so that's what I'm going to be doing. You'll see me do a little bit more. It's weird when you're alone at home talking to yourself on camera, because I do it all the time when the camera's not on. But it's just a little weird, so it'll take me a minute. I may have to come up with a character to kind of help me get into things, and Chris is having a stroke, I think.
I got to sneeze.
Oh, my gosh. But hold on. So this is... I stopped Chris in the middle of something and said, no, we got to go. We got to go record. Good. You should toot your own horn, man, because you are a prime example. And again, on the other side of the fence, do that in private. But you are a prime example of why I do what I do. And I am definitely not taking credit for the growth in your life on any level, because that's not what it's about. I have just sat here and shared information that was not directed at you, and you have absorbed it in leaps and bounds. And as a prime example of why I believe that a simple shift in the narrative of your mind can change things, why don't you start again with what... So he's making a shift to wanting to focus more on his side of the fence. And look, he lives like 40 miles away.
70.
Okay. Double that. Even worse, right? This is what we do, though. Like, we sacrifice because we're already full and we feel good, but something needs to pivot. Marty needed to go deal with family things. I really got excited when all this stuff started to go down personally, because I'm like, yes, I get a chance to just unleash who I am without worrying too much about it. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean, like, sometimes I want to bring the podcast up in a way that it definitely affects both people, because my thought patterns and the things that I can talk about are just about anything. And I want to bring it to a relevant state. So now I just get to let my mind loose for you and bring you into my world. So I want to do Q&As. I really need some more feedback and things that I can talk about with you guys. So I'm asking for your help as well. I need topics. I need things that you're struggling with, things that you want to know about, things that you want to see change in. So anyways, Chris is taking a pivot into other things and is very technical, very, very, very smart when it comes to computers and technology and the new age of things and programming. And I could go on and on and on, and we'd be here for another 3 hours. But as he's making this shift, there's a lot going on in his house. So it sounded like there was a car difficulty. And, well, tell the story, and then I'm going to tell you what was going through my head.
No, basically, big, scary vehicle problems.
Sorry.
When you, I'm sure everybody's been at a point in their life where if a vehicle goes to shit, they don't have much they can do about it.
70% of America can't afford a car payment or can't afford a car repair. They're stretched so thin that if a hardcore repair comes up and they don't have a credit card, they can't afford it.
This is one of those vehicles where we saved and saved.
Yeah,
and
I remember.
Well, she saved and saved $9,000, and $9,000 is not easy for us to come up with.
$9,000 is not easy for a lot of people, including myself. I do not roll like that.
Yeah, it kind of just stopped driving on her. A bunch of fluid pouring out of the bottom. We thought it was a head gasket oil pouring out. Smelled sweet. Thought it was coolant. The next day after we got it towed home, I had her start it up, but I looked down and found out it was a transmission line that popped off from the radiator, so that was a blessing.
Okay, pause. Sorry. As you were telling the story at first, the first bit of information that you got, your natural instinctive response was head gasket. And for those that don't know what that means, that typically means the motor is gone.
The whole motor.
It's done.
Yeah.
It has cracked. When the head gasket, I'm not going to get into the mechanical terms, but anyways, it basically cracks the block, which is the main section of the motor, and is not repairable without a new block, which basically means a whole new motor rebuild. So, again, you went straight to worst case scenario from the jump, which is natural. I think we all do.
It looked like oil because the transmission fluid was so dark.
I'm not disagreeing with you. It's not. Were you there when it started pouring out fluid, though?
No, she sent me a video of it.
So you were taking information, right, though?
And then I started it up to look at it when I got there.
Right.
Still thought it was,
And naturally, right? But something in your mind said, this doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
I believe, so when you said that, in my head, I went, this is Chris's new positive narrative, sending a synchronicity, because, right, we have three different brains.
There's got to be a better scenario than what we think it is.
It made more sense for you to not have worst case scenario. Mm-hmm. And I fucking love that. Like, if you could zoom in on this, I have the chills right now. Like, legitimately have the chills talking about this, because I love that. You weren't going to accept, nope, it's just the worst. Myself, and I'm sure a lot of you listening would have been like, it's over. You start panicking. You start calling friends to borrow money, to borrow cars, to figure stuff out, maybe sacrifice and go back to an old lifestyle where you have to not get money in the best way. That's typical panic.
I was out in the parking lot screaming, fuck yeah.
So you decided, but here's the thing. Most of us take that information and that's just what it is, right? And this is exactly what I'm talking about. You lie to yourself, and I don't mean that you were lying to yourself. You had a lot more data to go back on, but there was still something inside of you that said, no, Chris, the worst isn't going to happen to us anymore. So let's look one more time. And I encourage all of you to do that every time something bad happens in your life. Because again, I said, I'll find the positive in anything, and it's not just me. I just know how to see it. I believe it's there for everybody. You had a feeling, you ran with it, you ended up just fixing it, which again, like I said, dude, the guy can build computers, fix cars. He knows how to utilize his mind, which for somebody like him is dangerous, because when you do that, your mind starts racing because now it's full of more information and you're learning how to control it. So, dude, fucking bravo.
Yeah, thank you.
For real.
It was kind of the same thing in, a different situation, but all these things have, they've happened all at the same time.
Well, yeah, the police call him randomly.
Yeah.
And he thinks he's definitely going to prison.
I think I'm in trouble. A cop called me because I deleted my website, lightstomp.com, about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
But it still shows up on Google with my phone number.
Okay.
And they're asking me to fix this laptop. And I say, okay, because all these other places in town are trying to charge them $200. I looked up the keyboard, $30. I told them $50 labor, so an $80 job for them. They came to me, said
65% discount, something like that.
We need a different tech guy at the police station. I told them I had a background. They said, we don't care. So pretty much after I get this job done, which will be tomorrow.
And we're not going to talk about which police station that's allowing you to do this.
Yeah. It's Western. And he's gonna have me talk to the chief, because the chief told him to hook me up with that position there.
But you know what? Here's the thing. Here's what I love is you're not going to be given like secret data, right? It's basic IT repair.
Right.
Something's broken, they lock it down, you fix it.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's not
stupid
that.
Anyway.
It's not that detailed, right? But I love the fact again that what used to be the worst phone call you would ever get in your life.
Facing financial difficulty.
There's one. The police, though, 3 years ago, hell, a year
Oh, yeah,
ago.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
That's another.
when the cops call me.
Oh, I was scared to death before he showed up with the laptop. He pulled up in his cop car, too.
Right.
And I was like, this is it. This is the rock bottom of all the shit that's been happening in the last couple weeks. It's been leading up to this very moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I had put on a nice blue dress shirt and nice jeans, not only so that he would think I was presentable, but also if I was going to jail, I was going in nice clothes.
Look good in court. Love it.
No, it was really crazy to me how all of it is, how I say it's all happening at once. Not just it's all going downhill at once, but usually things tend to start going downhill, and then this stuff that I wouldn't even ever imagine as being probable just starts to come out of the woodwork. Like a police officer called me and they want to hire me. And then that's just, I would have never imagined that. And it happened while all this other stuff is happening, like just in the right time. It was completely insane to me. And things have happened like that through all the most difficult times in my life.
And you're finally finding a way to see it.
Right.
Which is, man, I struggle to find the word because there's really not one good enough. It is very gratifying.
I call it God yelling at me.
Yeah.
God speaking out loud.
God
like,
does for you
here
what
I
you can't
am.
do for yourself, right?
You know, you've got all these foxhole prayers and all this and that and complaining about this and that. I needed to just scare you with a little bit of change, slap you in the face, and show you that you need to keep that gratitude. That's, you know, I'm waiting on a job for $10 an hour that if I get, I'm going to be more grateful for than anything I've been in a long time. And it does kind of wake me up. It makes me humble myself. And then I'm like, damn, all these other problems I've created, and I say I've created because the only problems I've really had in the last 37 years are me complaining about shit because I'm so used to being comfortable that once I get to that point, I become ungrateful. I start saying, you know, I hate my fucking job. You know, I'll go somewhere I'm so happy to get, and then
created them. But 2 years ago, would you have said that you created them, or just been blaming the world?
Oh yeah, 5 years ago, I would have been blaming the world. Okay. When I got into recoveries, when I learned not to blame anybody else but myself for anything.
So for those of you that are listening right now, I want you to understand that every problem that you are having, even when you feel like it is absolutely not your fault, is your fault.
It is your world. Everybody.
And I don't say that to place blame. I say that so you'll accept responsibility. Because somebody the other day was like, wrong place, wrong time. I'm like, sweet, how'd you get there? Well, I wasn't even driving. Who put you in the car? Were you kidnapped? Like, explain this to me in a little more detail, and then we'll talk about whether or not it's wrong place, wrong time. And again, I just don't believe in coincidence. I don't believe in things I used to. I used to live off this assumption that as long as I always did good, then my karma bank would be full. I hate to tell you guys, but that's not how it works. When you're trying to balance your good with your bad, perfect, Chris. It's not a score-keeping game. Life is not about how many things you can stack up. It's not about what you have. It's about what you keep. And the only thing you can keep is your peace of mind, your sanctity, your legend, your everything about you is the only thing you actually get to keep. Everything else is material on every level. And I can tell you from someone that has had a lot, it is more fulfilling to serve than it is to receive.
Even this body is material.
Yeah. On a spiritual level, absolutely. We'll get into a biblical conversation at some point when I'm alone with my thoughts. And for those of you that are sensitive, don't listen. Because I'm a firm believer in God. I genuinely pray every morning, every night, and I believe that God has a plan for me and that it is my job to be aware of those things that are happening for that plan. For a long time I wasn't, but I still just want to stick to this for a second with, I love how much if I were to take somebody else and tell them what's happening to you, a lot of people would say that sounds miserable. And it's not. And I agree with you that it's not. It's just so many people are so wrapped up in, well, I wouldn't be able to do like the nice ass dinners, and I can't go buy the fancy car, and I can't go get a nice watch. Bullshit for starters. Secondary, that's not how it works. You are accepting this experience because you know and again, I'm speaking for you, so please tell me to shut the hell up if I'm wrong. But
so far you're not.
I feel like you are accepting this experience as something that is going to be that pivotal moment that changes your life.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
How can you say you believe in your next big break, which everybody talks about, and I don't believe in either, but if you can't say you believe in that and not be willing to have enough faith that when everything seems like it's never going to go your way, you dig your heels in just a little bit harder. Mm-hmm. It's not done yet. I'm not down yet, right? You just dig in a little bit deeper, even when by normal standards, this is not ideal. Because again, I don't even want to call it a negative because it's not. Just to society, that would not be ideal. And you are just embracing this. We made this decision while I was on vacation in Montana. I still got to get you that podcast. I had the privilege of sitting down with my stepson, who I call him my stepson. He was like 17 when I met him. But we had a really fun talk and have been getting much closer over the years. And so that was fun. And that's the kind of thing I want to do. So when that happened, my first instinct was, oh shit, we've got to make a big change. And I could have very easily done the normal. Okay, close it, right? I've closed multiple businesses in my life because it reached a point where it was like, not worth it. This is different because this is worth it. Even if we, through this whole entire thing, only have one person that was ever touched in a way that their life changed, it was all worth it. That was the whole reason why I got into recovery, changed my life, believe in a different method, and I've been so honored to watch you change. Even when you started telling the story, I was just like, it sounded different. Like when you talked, it wasn't like doom and gloom, but I was hearing because you saw my face. You were like, head gasket. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Like I was there. Like, it's the head gasket. It's done. And then you were like, oh, dude, hold on. I'm not done with the story yet. And boom, hit me with some positivity. And I was like, you SOB. Using my own tricks on me.
Yeah, it was just the fact that we, would have been completely helpless if it would have been that. I was incredibly, grateful that it wasn't, that it was just a line that popped off and I fixed it. But yeah, while this is going on, I haven't been praying, don't let this happen, don't let that happen. I'm saying, please let this happen. If it doesn't, give me the strength to find another way to handle what you're about to throw at me.
Thank you. So many people, and I have said this prayer, please don't let this, please don't, right? And I feel like when you say that to someone, God, your higher power, whatever you call that, when you say, please don't, you are begging for them to stop the pain as if it's their fault and you don't trust the plan, right? Mm-hmm. That's where you sit. When you have total faith, it's like,
the process.
This is just what goes on. And I can tell you right now, it's darkest before the dawn. This is not just a random metaphor. This is life. And most people, when it hits that real dark spot before the dawn, they give up. They never get a chance to see the light. They never get a chance to see it through. They don't follow through because they hit their bottom of, I can't take it anymore. And then when they look back and realize what they missed out on, then they just want to go back. And again, we go back to this blaming the world. Listen, it's all your fault. It's all your problem. No one can fix you but you. So he's a prime example of it. He has had a great experience with this podcast, but we're pivoting. And that's just the way that it is. So we're all opening up. And I am so excited for what we're about to do. And I hope that y'all share this. And this is going to be something new and different, where it's going to be multiple different podcasts with multiple different characters. We're doing multiple different things to really play with the thing of it. Just, I don't want it always to be the same. Mm-hmm. We started this with the vision of recovery, which is awesome. And I'm still going to touch base on that on every level. But at the same time, it's bigger than that. Things are bigger than that. There are people that don't understand recovery. There are people that just want to change. There are people that have gotten far enough out of recovery for them that they're looking to make a different change, like level up again, right? They've now been stable enough, like myself. When you've reached a point where it's like, I don't even know what a obsession looks like unless it's for myself. So we're going to make a pivot. We're going to make a change. Chris, please, definitely go have fun.
Okay.
You sent me a video of something you did, I'm guessing years ago. It's a Truman House.
Is that
where that was?
After the Truman House.
It just looked like you were walking around the Truman House.
That was Marty's old house in Terre Haute.
Okay. So you were walking around the house, and I was like, dude, yes, absolutely do more of that. Like, what are you even asking about? Because it was edited fun. It was cool. It had some good motivation to it, and you were just genuinely getting after it. And honestly, there was this moment where I was like looking up to you and thinking, damn, I definitely know that at the time frame you were doing it, I could not have done that. I still struggle with it today. So it's awesome to watch you do these things and be willing to get very quirky and fun and just show you. I am wanting to encourage the world. Just give us you. Whatever that really looks like. Not what you're trying to be. Not what you hope you are. Just you. I've had some awesome conversations lately. Life-changing things. Gotten real deep with people. And that's because I was willing to be me. We just had dinner with some people, and they're new friends to me. They've been friends with my wife, but we were hanging out, barbecuing, got in the pool. I don't even know how the conversation got started, but we started talking about life and perspective and things. And the husband looks at me and he goes, dude, you're deep. And he was happy about it. In my head, I feel like I sound like a psycho sometimes because I'm like, nobody knows what I'm talking about. He was right there with me. And I was like, this is the stuff that I manifest. And I wanted it to happen a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not my plan.
Yeah, you're speaking of manifestation. That's exactly what, I want to take this whole, I won't get into, too much detail, but it just seemed like I was telling you earlier, like a lot of things were happening at once, and it felt like things were going downhill.
Yep.
For me and my girlfriend and us as a whole,
Yeah.
I decided to, no matter how bad it felt at the moment, I decided to take everything as an opportunity, and things just started happening on the uptick. It seems like it's been a month. It's only been a couple weeks. There's been so much mind racing and losing sleep and things, just like I typically do in pressuring situations. But I made myself stay positive. I didn't allow myself to feel like I'm miserable, and my mind is still kind of blown from the couple things that have just came out of the woodwork as opportunities, because the other job is production at Goodwill, but my friend that works there is the manager of production. He's known me for years, since before I was even sober. He talked to his boss and the CEO about my videography and IT experience and things. I talked to his boss when I was there, and he's talking about, putting me in production for a little while and then spanning out and having me do safety videos, IT work, and all these things there as well. And, on top of that, 2 different possible IT jobs coming out of this.
Right.
Just seemingly randomly, but I know it's not random. It is for me, though. It's like, surprise.
This mind blown. I remember when, this was probably probably about 2 years ago, right before the podcast started, I started really experiencing manifesting. And it feels like a magic trick. Like, you feel like, holy crap, like, did that really work? And like, it's mind blowing. You're like, what just happened?
Kazam.
And most people out there, when you are not in touch with you, when you are not in an ultimate synchronicity of life, you would just be like, man, I got lucky. Right? Like, man, got so lucky. Instead of, nope, I didn't accept it. I changed it. and it changed for me.
And thank you, God.
So many, of course, thank you, God. And there's so many people out here like that. No, that's just silly. Cool. You do you, boo-boo. Because me over here, it happens when I manifest. Random things don't just happen to people. I think about them. I focus on them. I trigger the thoughts in my mind to emit what I need as an energy source, and it comes back. Always. I was just looking into a method for therapy that somebody mentioned to me, and I was talking to a client that I believe needs therapy, and I just was like, And then I saw a video on that same thing that I've never seen. This is a new thing. I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't have enough medical experience yet, but I was just like, boom, manifest. And I just kind of smiled. You know what I mean? I just got done meditating and wanting to have more focus on how I can serve this client. And something that somebody else just mentioned to me that is a great method for PTSD and trauma and anxiety was like, you should look into this and maybe have your client talk to a therapist about what that looks like. And literally 2 days later, I'm watching an older video and they bring that up. I just happened to scroll through it on YouTube.
You know what's funny, too? I went to Walmart yesterday to get oil for the Cavalier since the SUV's out of commission for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Usually in Walmart, there's like some random music playing. Mm-hmm. Yesterday, there was a motivational speaker on the fucking radio at Walmart.
Yes.
Talking about, becoming your greatest version and stuff. I'm like, this is not really happening. Like,
it is really
that just popped back in my head.
Yep. Guys, we are coming into, I promised you I'd shoot it to you straight. We are coming into a scary time. You can all blame politics all that you want. It's not the politics. It's us. We are all so full of a negative energy as a whole that it is time to create a positive force because the negative is taking over. And it is impacting our lives on a very serious level. I don't know if you pay attention to stuff at all. And I'm not talking about your normal media. I'm talking about your friends posting things and seeing things and watching things as they happen. And you get some stuff from the media and you're watching the shift happen in other ways. Like Big Pharma, I'm going to be talking about you pretty soon with this new shift that you guys are making because I see the pattern. And it breaks my heart because this is not the world that God intended for us. And I believe that's why we're struggling so bad. Because if you kick God out of your house, don't expect him to sweep your floor. It's just not how it works. And we kicked him out a long time ago. But regardless of that, God is still in my life. God is still in Chris's life. I'm not here to Bible thump. I have nothing against anybody that doesn't believe in God like I do. You can have a higher power or not. If you don't, you're not even listening right now because you don't matter like that to me, and I doubt that I've attracted you. So I doubt that you're watching. If you are and this just struck a chord, just look into it. That's all I'm saying. Other than that, we need to get together and enforce this positivity. I have never seen such a mental health struggle amongst the teenage. Like 18 to 24 is so dark for a lot of the people that I have been talking to that it is mind-boggling to me. Like I had a lot of fears and stuff when I was that age, but it was more like, am I going to get fired because I've been partying too hard? Or is that girl going to like me or not? Or do I have to date her friend? Or
there's
stupid thoughts.
Way, way, way too many teenagers with suicidal ideology. And like way more than there's ever been.
Suicide, anxiety. It's been so conditioned into you. And for those that don't understand it, go look up Pavlov's dog. This is a very real thing. And your society knows it. They use psychological tricks against you in marketing and all kinds of things that's been going on for years. But this is a new psychological trick. We are making anxiety normal. We are making suicide okay because your pain just must be that bad. And I am not saying that it's not. I'm simply saying I don't ever know of anything that is worth giving your own life for. And that there are people around you that are willing to talk, even though you don't believe they are. And it is time to reach out some hands. So what I'm telling everybody that's listening right now, I want you to get as fucking selfish as you possibly can and fill yourself up with as much joy and positivity and everything that you need, because it'll be time to give some away. So I need your cups overflowing like mine are. I keep myself full. at all times. There were times on the trip that we just went on that I was like, nah, I need me time. Honey, just take them. I know this is an amazing trip, but I need to relax. I just need an hour or two to myself so I can lay here and just do nothing except enjoy my own thoughts and recap and just get to a peace. So for those that don't believe me, I stay selfish all the time. My wife understands that and she's fine with it because I always make sure she's good because I stay good. And she isn't offended by that on any level. She pushes me to do it, and I'm now pushing her to do more of it. And she just made a massive career change, and she has been coming. I'm so damn happy. Like, these are the things that are happening for people like us. And these are the things that can happen for people like you. So if you're willing to join us, share this podcast, like, subscribe, get it out to your friends, watch the new chapter unfold, and get in it with us.
And wish me luck on a job.
Don't wish Chris luck on a job.
Oh, yeah, luck isn't real.
Luck.
Wish me manifestation.
Chris is going to be perfectly fine as long as Chris keeps his head perfectly fine. As long as he knows the value that he adds in this world, these will be little offers compared to what's coming. I guarantee it. I've seen it.
No drugs or booze.
Absolutely. That typically is not the way to start a good job. Absolutely. So, Chris, do you have anything else you want to say to everybody before we cut this one short and start getting ready for our new chapter?
No matter what, stay positive. Everybody tells you that all the time. You don't practice it enough. Do it. See what happens.
Absolutely. Love it, Chris. Thank you. We love you guys, and we will see you on the other side of this chapter. It's time to turn the page.